Yeah. So I actually didn't know much about Squid Games either. I heard about it like here and there. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you got to ride this media wave." I'm just like, I have no idea what's happening, right? But then earlier today, I saw an article by Barron's, and they were saying that Squid Game has overtaken like the most watched series on Netflix, right? And before that, it was
Really?
yeah, and before that, it was Lupin, right? And for me, I really enjoyed watching Lupin. So I was like, oh, maybe I should check out Squid Game. So I spent an hour or two earlier today watching a few episodes, just trying to understand what exactly this is about, and I guess the way if I were to explain it to you right now, I would describe it as think about think about these like adults playing children games, right? So a very common children game I think that transcends all cultures is the whole red light green light, right? So the idea there is like you have someone who's playing the cop and they're not looking, and then you're supposed to like slowly sneak your way across some sort of field, and then once they look, you're supposed to like stop moving, right? So essentially, games very similar to that, but the consequences of being caught is that they kill you, right? So they just eliminate you overall, right? And yeah, from there, like the whole premise is if you can make it through all these like this like set of games, you would essentially win a bunch of money. I think the up to where I saw it was about $45 billion, or sorry, 45 billion won, which is about $28 million US dollars, right? And the reason why or the how they found all these participants is that all of these people are like they owe a lot of money to loan sharks, right? So they're essentially going after people who are desperate, like last chance of survival type of thing, and then they're approaching them saying, hey, we can be your savior if you are interested in playing this game, right? So I mean, I'm not going to get into like the game anymore. But what I found really interesting when I found out that Netflix, or its number one series on Netflix, is number one, like how much did it cost to make the game, or the show, and then number two, how much do we think it's grown Netflix's user base, or it was like the show that kept people for another month, right? Because I think the last few sessions that we did, Reggie talked a lot about Disney, right, and how Disney's franchise, like all the IP is able to bring in multi-billion dollars, right? So I'm curious on your take, like so. Okay, so I guess let's facts that I am aware of at this moment. So it's it's estimated that Squid Games cost about 17 million US dollars to create. There are about 9 episodes, right? So that's about we'll just call that two
So cheap.
million. Yeah, we'll call that 2 million US dollars per episode. And from what I've been able to find on the internet, they are looking to create a season 2 now, right? But off to you guys. How much what do you think about the economics of Netflix from that perspective?
So cheap. For honestly, it's one of the cheapest shows out there that Netflix ever produced that went so huge. But sorry, I'm a Kim's Convenience fan, right? So just want to reiterate my love for Canadian Asian comedy and how Simon Liu is just junk. Okay, but anyway, I don't watch Netflix that much, but I do know like how much they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars just for one series, right? And for something like that, at this price range, it's pretty well, right? So in other words, it is showing something. It's showing that with all the consumption data that Netflix has, they actually can give you a lot of guidelines as to like what will work, what is interesting, what is the tick rate, how do you increase your hit rate, right? And if this is the first one that it can create at such a low production cost, what about the next one and next one? So if they can continue to do this a few more rounds, then hey, this is that means there's a system here, right? So we don't want to kind of tick on something as a one-off situation and be go like all go gaga around it. But hey, at 17 million for 8 episodes, very cheap, and I want to see them repeat the system. And it's also proving that K-pop works. Yeah, Korean drama is actually going international. So yeah, next one is Thai pop. Yeah, that's my belief. But anyway, yes,
I have never saw any Thai pop before, so I can't
it's
make a comment there.
coming. It's coming. Yes, yes.
Geez, I mean, on my side, I think this has proven a formula for them, right? So actually, I've been reading Netflix, the No Rules Rules, and the CEO talks about it there, about how he focused on content and all these things. And I think, firstly, that's their main bet, right? Building that sort of content and really moving forward. And we can see this actually throughout, right? I think first it started with the House of Cards, if I'm not mistaken. Then they started to move towards the movies. I think with the one with Will Smith, I'm not too sure, but we saw this this aspect of cross culture showing and cross culture views, right? I guess it started with Money Heist or La Casa de Papel, which became, I think, the most viewership at that point in time. I think Stranger Things, he mentioned in his book, Reed Hastings, as another big bet that he did that also did cross culture. Lupin being that one as well. I didn't know they were there. I didn't know they were the most viewed until Squid Game. But I think this is proven to be something that works, and I believe is their secret sauce to keeping number one, retention high, and at the same time acquiring some new customers. I didn't expect it to be this low with regards to production costs. I guess they were just testing it out. And maybe a bit like Lupin, right? The first season was also quite maybe low budget, and the second season was a lot more. We might be seeing that with Squid Game as well. Um, and or is it the fact that because COVID cases are rising globally that everybody's just turning on to Netflix and just watching it now,
I don't
right?
think so. I think everybody is going out already. Although all the cases are coming up, a lot of people in the West have already moved on with their lives, right? So
Mm,
I don't think so. But thanks for reminding me all the old shows like Money Heist, Stranger
yeah,
Things. I was like, oh yeah, those were all like pretty big hits at that point in time. And
Yeah.
Netflix has this amazingness, right, of being able to create nothing from like something from nothing. So they usually sign an options to produce for 3 seasons. All right. So the first 3 seasons will always be cheap for them. And then the production house will come in and say, oh, we need to renegotiate everything. And then the prices, cost of production will rise like crazy for next 3 seasons and the next 3 seasons, and eventually it becomes like not as sexy, not as effective, and they will drop the content, right? So I think that's still a big part of what Netflix finds challenging, which is why I will want to see more of that whole like game and multi-channel monetization going forward, right? And not so much just this whole like continue, but at least it's proven that their hit rate for content is very, very good.
yeah, it's there. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So, I was Googling a few of these shows when we were just talking there. So House of Cards, it's projected to have cost about 5 million per episode,
Five
right?
million,
And
right?
and Stranger Things was 12 million. So, I
Episode.
mean,
Wow.
yeah, relative to these other, these two shows, yeah, I mean, Netflix definitely got a huge steal there.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there are a lot of at least within the region, I do know some people that are producing content, for Netflix. And there are a lot of discussion about how Netflix is flexing its reach and flexing its brand to get cheaper cost, right? So that is something to do with
Mm,
skill. There's something to do with their hustling power. And yeah, for them it's great. For everyone else, monopoly, it's always a slight problem for other people in the sector. So yeah, all that jazz. We have reaffirmed the idea that Netflix, it's very successful in creating new content. And actually, if you think about it, I would think it's a little bit unfair to even say that they are not creating new genres, right? So it always feels like they're creating something new altogether. Like it's not like new, like totally out of nowhere, but it's like they're always pushing the ground. Stranger Things, Orange is the New Black, Money Heist. Even with this, I'm like, who the hell would think of creating a show like this? All right, so hey, pretty kudos to them. Good stuff.
cool. I think that was good. I think, to quickly sum up, you talked about creating good content, start off with creating these new genres, but sustainability, I guess, is the next question, right? After the first 3 seasons, what's going to happen next? Will they effectively move on to a bigger? Will the production house then say, okay, this is what's going to cost you? Otherwise, I'm going to say
Of
Disney,
course, it
or
always
I'm going
happens.
to
Always
Amazon,
happens.
right? Yeah,
Always happens. And then they'll create new shows and new shows and new
yeah.
shows. Yeah.
Actually, speaking about production houses, I also found
Mm.
out that the production house that created Squid Games, I think it's publicly traded, and it's gone up 70% the last 3 trading days. 7-0. So yes,
Crazy.
people are pricing in that already.
That's some good money.
Yeah. The Korean stock market is filled with entertainment stocks. By the way, for all of you that don't know, you can actually buy all your big bands. You know, your SNSD, your I don't know who else is there, like BTS. I think you
BTS.
can buy BTS. That yeah, you can actually invest in these guys. They all the companies they own them, and they're all traded. All the entertainment, almost all of them are traded in the Korean stock market, right? So, but they are very volatile, by the way. So you can kind of see these companies. For all of you that never bought never bought celebrity management companies or like celebrity creation companies, you can kind of see them as the old game companies. You know, in the past, when game companies, they will have overnight success. They create this like Warcraft, or they create something like out of nowhere, and then suddenly they become super successful. They will do a few seasons, and then they kind of cycle downward, and you're not sure will they be able to hit the next round. So I think the cyclicality of the old gaming kind of games is very similar to how you should evaluate celebrity, at least for some of these Korean celebrity companies today. So yeah, that is one way to go about doing it. Cool.